Dumb welcome to episode 207, Out of Context. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good. We're here.
Yeah, we're all here. It's another beautiful Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's my daughter's going to homecoming later today, so we got that going on. It's a
Growing up
homecoming.
too fast.
It's a homecoming month here because she goes today. My brother-in-law's daughter goes next week, and then my sister-in-law's son goes the following week. So I'll be at a homecoming picture party for the next 3 weeks straight. Yeah.
Now, I don't remember which phone it was, but one of the companies, they have that new technology where you don't have to be there. They can just put you in like Photoshop now. So
Yeah. No, I don't know how that's gonna work out. What up, DJ? No, we'll see. Listen, it's my daughter's first. It's my brother-in-law, his daughter, my niece. It's her last. She's a senior this year, so I'm getting all the wave of emotions. Out early in the school year. So yeah, man, a lot of homecoming dances, a lot of proms, and a lot of graduations back to back in years. So that's how it is. But it's good, kids will enjoy themselves hopefully, and have a good time. But yeah, man, we're here at it again. It's been a stressful 2 weeks, but made it. I'm here to talk about some wrestling, hopefully, depending on the way against two upper jagoffs led into the pre-production stream prior to launching his live show, we were just talking about how much we hate wrestling, and I just watched it for my homework. So we'll see how good of a show you have today planned for us.
it'll be that high quality that it always is every week. So
The high quality A2L.
So Steve, you said it's been stressful couple weeks. Anything new at the house, or everything getting better? Or
Yeah, I still got the plumber to come back. They need to come back again. So got some water valves shut off in the basement currently. So certain things don't have water running to them, but got some stuff fixed and some other stuff still to fix. So my pockets are a little bit lighter. As is. So please head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/StuffMikePod. Pick up a shirt so we can help repay some of the funds that I put out for home ownership, which is always
coming soon, the Dumb Marks Podcast Patreon.
Yeah, listen. I don't know. I was about to hop on Foot Finder here the last couple weeks and start an account.
Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah. So we're good. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. My wife's birthday was yesterday. So
happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
All you Virgo Libra children put together between August.
I don't think children was the word you wanted to use there.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Donald and Jay at the beginning of the month. September is a month full of babies as far as like friends and family is concerned. So I don't know what parents were doing 9 months before, but apparently they were getting down because
New Year's
summertime. That was New Year.
Yeah, the entire month is just filled with birthdays from people.
Yeah.
So yeah. We're at it.
Don, Jason, how was your week?
I'm here.
We got grapes in the comments already.
DJ kicking it off. All right. Well, before we dive into the week that was wrestling, intro topic, wanted to bring up who watched the Mr. McMahon documentary.
I am 2.5 episodes in.
I watched 10 minutes of it last night and turned it off.
Listen,
did it feel like a fluff piece? Is that why you turned it off?
No, it didn't feel like a Vince McMahon doc. It felt like a Hogan and Meltzer doc through the first 2 episodes. I'm like, why the hell did they title this Mr. McMahon if all they're going to talk to me about is Hogan and Meltzer?
Now, I saw Mars posted the other day Mars posted something on social media the other day talking about it too, and I was like, dude, I completely 100% agree with you. Like, to me, it was like the documentary wasn't so much for like the diehard wrestling fans to get like the inside story as it was, okay, if you're on Netflix, WWE's coming January 1st, let's catch you up real quick.
I mean, it was definitely for the broader audience. Like I mean, because we're in the wrestling bubble and we've been so familiar with a lot of the stories and the history and everything else. Like
Yeah.
a lot of that wasn't new. I thought, like I don't need to rehash the rise and birth of Hulkamania, and I've seen that.
I did get to that point.
Meltzer going into business.
That was episode 1.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't need Meltzer going into business for himself. Just no, it wasn't 93,000. It was only 78,000.
That's what I heard. I heard fact checking the whole time.
He was at it. Once shit went bad, they brought Meltzer in. They're like, well, you got a place to
I heard
none of these matches are 5 stars.
And then I guess I'll see how the rest of the episodes play out. But I think through what I've watched so far, as far as like 2 full episodes, my biggest takeaway is that you sat on this footage for how long? Then all the scandal and lawsuits come and everything else. So you pivot to try to include all that to make it more of a hit piece. But it doesn't flow like a documentary should. Like it's 2 documentaries, it's 2 docs mashed together. And whenever you mash 2 separate concepts together in documentary, it never works.
Yeah. So and that stuff comes in episode 6. So it's like, and they talk about the very beginning of the documentary, like these interviews happened in 2021 before, all this came out. So you get all that stuff then, and then, like episode 6, they go back to some people and they re-interview them. Like, I know like Bruce Pritchard was a completely different interview, but there was very little of that. Yeah. So it's like it could have been better. Like even that like I kind of feel like they should have saved that. Like how Netflix has done stuff and they've come back to do like another part later on. Like that they should have saved that and said, okay, we're doing another part. We're doing an investigation. We'll get to that another day.
But why not just clip it and run your first 4 or 5 episodes for what the original doc was going to be?
Yeah.
Take the time, go back and redo the doc. Now I don't know how many people you would get from WWE to talk to you about after the lawsuits, right? But like make it 2 separate docs and it could be a total of 10 episodes altogether, right? Because this mashup it just doesn't feel right. And for Bill Simmons and the Ringer to this be like the first doc that you hang your hat on, I don't know if you're off to the greatest start as far as you doing sports documentaries on Netflix whenever ESPN 30 for 30 has been around for damn near a decade now. Cleaned up. Like exactly. And then on the wrestling side, you have your Dark Side of the Rings, your A&E that has your biographies and your legends. So like if you're going to come into this space, you got to come in with a home run out the gate to get people invested to want to tune into your docs. And from what I saw so far, I don't know if I'll be that interested in, because Netflix themselves has done other sports documentaries and other sports pieces that are good, that are better than this. So
and maybe if it's something that I don't know as much about, maybe I'll be like, oh, I learned something out of here. But for this, I didn't really learn much.
Yeah, that's how.
And then, good.
Oh yeah, I said that's how I was. Like whenever I was 10 minutes into it, I made it to like when Vince was raiding the territories, and I was like, I know about this shit already. I'm not watching this. Yeah. It was like I'm not regurgitating all this information again for no reason, just wasting my time. So I turned it off.
And DJ brought up, Vince's statement there. Like after I watched it, I was just like, to me, that wasn't so much a Vince statement as, you shouldn't watch this, as I think he was trying to get you to watch it. Like that was like that little like that promoter shit, of like I know like he doesn't probably like there's some things that were said in there that definitely were controversial on his end that come later on in the stuff.
But he don't profit from it. Like he said,
there wasn't anything on there that I was just like, why would Vince not care if this was said? There's maybe like 2 or 3 things that I was just like, okay, that shouldn't have been in, but
and he himself didn't come off looking as bad. Like to me, he just came off looking at sometimes insensitive and sometimes as a businessman.
Well, that's why I said, why are you trying to mash the 2 concepts? Because you're truly not painting the light that you want it to be painted if it's supposed to be like this big rise and fall of Vince McMahon. Like,
did you ever watch the Mr. McMahon? Like, not, or was it Mr. McMahon, or was it just McMahon, the DVD that they put out like 10 plus years ago? If you had ever watched that, all that this to me was an updated version of that, and not even like a whole lot of updates. Just
no,
longer.
but I mean, I think they got off the rails in the first episode because you had, if this was truly a Vince McMahon doc, right, Mr. McMahon, and you have so much to dive into when he started going through the relationship with his father and his stepfather and being abused and everything. Like, that's the road that you should have went down if you're trying to figure out who Vince McMahon is as a person, because those are the situations and the traumas and the backstory that mold the individual throughout the years to this on-screen business mogul who sometimes has himself out there but doesn't. And Vince said it himself. He's like, I only tell you what I want you to know. Like, sometimes I'm me, sometimes I'm not, but you'll never know the difference. So it's like, you have it right there for you. You could have went down that road to deep dive into those stories more, which would have, I think, led to more credence as far as who Vince is, and it would have been a more interesting doc that way. To just barely sprinkle that in and then go right into Hulkamania, Raiding the Territories, WrestleMania 1, I'm all in and we're off and running. It's like, whoa, what are you doing with that? Like, it's not there. Like, rehash and lazy. I mean, they could have essentially, the Ringer could have just cut up chunks of other docs that have already been released and put it out as their own footage and not get credit like people do on Twitter, and we would have got what we saw. Like,
I mean, for the blurring of the lines of finding out, I think their main goal was to see, is Vince McMahon Mr. McMahon? And I think they kind of were doing a lot of that, especially later on. Like, whenever you actually get into the Mr. McMahon character, there was a lot of that talking of, where does the line draw between Vince McMahon and Mr. McMahon? And most of the people were like, there really isn't a line. He is who he is, So I think that was partially one of their goals that they wanted to accomplish in there. Whether they actually succeeded, I don't think so, but
yeah, I don't like I said, I turned it off, and in 2 days since I first started it, like, I haven't had the itch to go back and finish it. So, I mean, I'm probably going to push through and watch it just because, but at the same time, like, it didn't really do anything to draw me, to get me in and lead me to where we can have a deeper discussion about stuff that may not have been prevalent before. Like, you had how many years to come up with this piece? You started interviewing 3 years ago. Like, a lot has transpired in 3 years, and granted, you have to go through all that footage, all those interviews, and build out your concept based of all that content. Yeah, but you've had how much time to do that, and the fact that this is what you decided to put out there as your final delivery.
Cut,
like, I question the people that were putting it together and what their concept actually was. Like, it just didn't do what I thought it would.
Where does out of context come from?
That was Vince's statement this week. That
okay,
a lot of stuff was out of context.
Because I was telling Donald, I was like, when you watch the intro, and they were just saying all this bad stuff about Vince, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be straight, we're tearing Vince down. None of that happened.
No, but
intro, I was expecting something different, and then it just went straight into Rise WWE.
Oh, you thought you were
that's
getting
why I said
I thought I was getting something. Yeah,
that would have been better. But like, I mean, so much of it, like, whenever, like, there was like, he has a line, like, whenever they get into the Owen situation, and he goes, well, if that was me splattered on the ring, it's just like, you should have phrased that a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff like that was in there that were like the lines to pick up on, but like there wasn't a ton of that either at the same.
And I don't know if we're so used to documentaries being hit pieces at this point. You know, like you really, if you're a true fan of documentaries and you're a true fan of wanting to learn something out of a documentary, it's hard. Like you really got to go dig and find, because a lot of real life persona docs are just hit pieces that
nowadays, that
drive the clickbaits and the likes and the retweets and etc. just to build up numbers. Like they didn't even do that well. Like there's been no chatter on this. Like the day it dropped, there were some comments that I saw on the timeline from different excerpts throughout the 6 episodes, but by like mid-morning, that shit ended and I haven't seen nothing else since. So you're talking 3 days later, and it's just there's been no buzz, no verbal, no social media traffic, like at all.
It was top on my Netflix though, in the top 10.
Yeah, I saw that too. I just think for the most part, the wrestling news outlets out there that are usually doing this clickbait stuff in those interviews and everything, it's stuff that's been reported on already. So what do they really have to report on?
But even from a broader, not even on the wrestling Twitter timeline that we have, you know, for the Dumb Marks feed, just like my own Twitter timeline through my own algorithm is stuff that I'm clicking on and looking at, like even through there, and even just doing a general search on Twitter, like you didn't get the buzz and the traction from the broader scope mainstream media, or even like certain names outside of wrestling that would be tied into wrestling based on their
pick it up.
Like none of that came, which again just goes to show how much of a disappointment I think it really was.
I mean, you paid them off.
All right. Well, so hold on here. DJ got an interesting point here before we move forward, because this is a good question to ask. When Vince actually passes, do you think we will actually get the full true story? Or do you even get a true story? Like Vince sat down in the beginning when they're doing the intro, and he's like, "Boy, I wish I could tell you all the stories 100%, but I can't." So
and how many times do you hear that even in the Hall of Fame speeches? Like when the guys go, like, "I wish we could really tell you the road stories," but it's like they're going to carry those to the day they die.
Unless who was it? Was it Tony Atlas?
Yeah, Atlas was the only one giving it up, really.
He was like, "Yeah, we beat women back in the day. We abused drugs. We did it." He was the only one.
But what's shocking about that?
But I don't think
nothing
we haven't uncovered before.
Yeah,
I don't think this changes people's perception of Vince all like that. If you were like close to him, like some people seen him as a father figure, maybe they'll distance himself, but the experience they had, that's the experience they had. That's how Vince was to them, and that's what they'll hold on to. So I don't think there's nothing else going to come out.
No.
Until this investigation's over completely. You know,
I was about to say that. Yeah, until the lawsuit goes to court and all that stuff, then you hear everything.
Yeah, because they're in the federal investigation right now, and then once that's over with, then the lawsuit will happen. Because that's paused at the moment, like they said on the documentary.
More to come, I guess. But
exactly.
It's not a trial or a situation that I'm like hooked on and have to follow up regularly to see what's changed or what's happening. Like I'll get to it when I get to it.
The interesting thing, just like, and I don't really want to dive into this. I just wonder the federal investigation, like with all this stuff that came out with Diddy recently, if the federal investigation's tying all this stuff together, if that's why we're hearing about some of this stuff, because some of the things that they're accusing Vince of are very similar things that Diddy was. So, to be determined, really. I don't know. That's just me speculating right now.
We'll see.
All right, so let's go into some good news. Let's start with the Mount Rushmores of the week. Donald, why don't you kick us off?
For my less than stellar watching this week, I only have one. Mina Shirakawa, welcome back.
Shirakawa.
You didn't even get her name right, you dumb Mark. Put somebody on your Mount Rushmore and don't even get their name right.
You didn't even watch. You just seen the video they sent over, right?
Yeah, he saw the clip.
What'd she do? What happened?
She danced, and it was fantastic.
I saw what happened because I did watch it. Yes. Willa got distracted by her music, and then she got hit upside the head with the belt.
Okay,
there you go. The only good thing that happened on AEW.
He did his research.
That's it. That's my Mount Rushmore. Totally gonna be short.
I mean, I'm not angry about it.
Well, we know you're not.
Just send me the gift.
That's it.
That's all me and Donald need every week to send the gifts.
That's
Before we move forward, does anybody got anything else from AEW?
Yes.
Okay.
My jabroni.
All right.
my bush. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, all right. I'll save my question then. I'll save my question.
Both of mine are from AEW this week.
Okay. I'll save my question. I'll put a pin in it.
Jason, why don't you kick us off with your Mount Rushmore?
I'm going with as Donald calls them, participation oos.
Congratulations. You finally did something.
Like the way the crowd popped for that, he's a made man right now. I really enjoyed that match and that moment, especially for Raw.
I mean, he only won the title because of Rikishi Sweets, right?
That's it.
Rikishi put the pressure out there.
And still he wasn't satisfied.
That's it. That's
What
it.
did he say? I didn't see
Should have been a pay-per-view.
Rikishi to me is now like Ryback. He just runs his mouth on for no reason.
Yeah, he puts out diss tracks that nobody listens to. He's like your buddy that's been rapping since 9th grade. It's like, bro, you're not gonna make it. Like, give up the dream, dude. You're like, Universal, like
my SoundCloud.
Def Jam is not coming to sign you. Like, enough. Get off the label, bro.
40 years been passed.
Yeah. I mean, Jay winning,
crowd loves them.
Do it hurt Braun?
They loved it, boy.
See, I don't think it hurts Braun. People are saying that. I think you weren't gonna have Jay. You weren't gonna have Jay beat Sammy for the IC belt.
That'd have been better story-wise.
Agreed.
Maybe better story, but you're not gonna have the babyface run in that instance, especially depending on where you're going with this Bloodline saga. If you're going to link them back up,
so then was Braun a transitional champion then?
You can say that to an extent. I mean, his run only lasted 51 days.
Yeah.
So in terms of numbers wise, yes, you would say he's a transitional champ.
But that's what I wonder. But was that what he was booked for or not? And whether or not we'll ever know that to be, we'll see. But
I think maybe I don't want to say plans change from a booking standpoint, but booking does change. Do you think Braun got so hot so quick that they were like, we just got to put the belt on him just to feed that itch? And then, you know what I mean? Like, whoever was originally playing, etc., we bumped around and moved some stuff around and changed some stuff just because he was as hot as he was. Because outside of Jay, he was the most over guy on Raw.
As a heel.
As a heel, which, like he never had a clear delineation heel, babyface. They tried making him a heel. He was a babyface over, but in promos, he was still a heel. Like he never had that. I just feel like it was we're putting the belt on him just because moment with Braun. And, Jay, not that Jay doesn't deserve it, but this is kind of like a reset, hopefully. And now we can kind of get a true build for Braun told or have Braun move somewhere else. I wouldn't mind seeing Braun run up against Gunther for something different.
That would definitely be different.
Because Braun can be your babyface in that situation. He may not be the guy to beat Gunther, but you can have the fans clearly behind Braun in that situation going up against Gunther. So maybe potentially that would be a way to do it. That's not a bad storyline. It's going to be, they got to figure out some way to bring Sammy and Jay back into it because they're on Raw and everybody else is on SmackDown. So I don't know how you set that up, but Look,
Bad Blood's next week, so we'll see what progresses next week with that.
Does Jey deserve a singles title for what he's done and how he's become main event Jey Uso over the last 5 years? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to be mad that they put the belt on him.
No,
like,
not at all.
He, out of everybody in the bloodline, like you can say Jey has been elevated the most from that bloodline story.
Yes.
Roman has definitely ascended into a different level, but from where they were starting at to where they're at now, Jay's the one that has benefited the most from that.
Yes.
Well, for sure.
And we still don't know what's going on with Jimmy.
Nope.
Ask his dad. He knows everything.
Prayers for Jimmy.
Well, I'm happy for Jey. I've been touting Jey. Look, I didn't pick Jey to win Monday night, and of course he won. I've said it all. Yeah. I mean, so like the surprise of Jey winning that match was definitely well done on WWE because everybody and their mother would have bet Braun Breaker. And it still throws that little wrinkle in there. Hey, we can give you some surprises on Monday night like we used to get back in the day. It's not just all pay-per-view title changes and surprises. We can do some stuff here with belts go. That'll keep you guessing.
They used to say anything can happen. Keep that going.
But outside of Jey and Braun, Monday night was trash. I thought it was the worst Raw in a really long time. So I don't know.
I remember from Monday night, honestly.
Yeah, it was not good.
Steve, what was your Mount Rushmore?
So I had Jey and Braun up there in that regard. But my Mount Rushmore this week, the show that I enjoyed the most, which was a close second, or Dynamite was a close second overall for me, but TNA. I really liked their show this week. Joe Hendry and Kaz had a really good match. Hendry won, so now he's getting the title shot against Nick Nemeth at Bound for Glory. You had Jonathan Gresham and Laredo Kid in a really good match. Gresham just needs to be elevated into a main event picture.
Yes.
That guy's too good to not be in a main event picture. You had Sol Ruka and Jordan Grace in a tag team match. Against moving forward there, like I really liked what TNA put out this week from a viewing standpoint. It was really good, enjoyable. So I'll put TNA as my Mount Rushmore just from the overall start to finish of the show.
Joe Hendry's stock keeps rising and rising and rising because now he's in the TNA title picture as he's still in the NXT title picture. Like, so that weekend, Bound for Glory weekend, it's Bound for Glory Saturday, Halloween Havoc Sunday. Do we see?
No, you don't see. You don't see a double champ.
You don't see a back-to-back weekend?
No. I will say, though, like, and I don't know what this whole Nick Nemeth JBL situation is and JBL propping up in different promotions,
I think I saw JR said that he thinks JBL's just bored in retirement.
He maybe. But like Josh Alexander is doing his thing. They're teasing Alexander and Hendry, but still having them do other things. But it's still making me want to come back to see Alexander versus Hendry. So if you have Hendry beat Nemeth at Bound for Glory, you get that moment. He wins the title. It's you're one of your two biggest shows of the year. Then you immediately have a top tier feud set up with him and a bad guy with Josh Alexander. So from a booking perspective, that's the way I would go with it. You give the guy his moment, he gets his flowers, and yet you still have a number one contender and a true heel that can come in and you can hit the ground running and be off to a good title defense start with Joe Hendry. So that's the way I would go with it. But yeah, I know TNA, like I said, it was a really good episode all around. Like a lot of good stories, a lot of interaction with the NXT people. Sol Ruka showing up was nice.
Was that a big enough name for you, or do you need?
Sol coming over was fine with me from a name standpoint. I didn't have no issues. A lot of their women's division still in NXT still has people building up name value wise, but to incorporate her in and throw her in with Jordan Grace and have them tag teaming up, I like the dynamic of them two together. A powerhouse against somebody that's really athletic. Like I like that from a tag team standpoint. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed that show start to finish. Now, was everything a home run on it? Absolutely not. But to me, that was the most entertaining show as far as story, match, people I want to see elevate. Like, it gave me a little bit of everything on Thursday night.
See, I like the booking that you were talking about. The thing that sticks out in my mind right now is Alexander has talked that his contract expires early next year. Rumor is Joe Hendry's contract expires early next year. Like, unfortunately, there's only so much time left. We don't know dates on their contracts. We don't know when they're officially done, but how do we have the time to book to finalize everything?
Well, Hendry, I believe the last I saw was sometime in January. I'm not sure about Alexander, but Bound for Glory is October 10th, I think.
No, the 26th. Yeah, Saturday the 26th.
Okay. So, I mean, you do the title change there. You got 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 months. You can run something because they've already been telling a story leading up to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just here's a 2-month feud because we need somebody there. Like, they've been going at it since Slammiversary when Alexander cost Hendry in turn. So, and they've been circling back to it throughout the time from Slammiversary till now. So there's enough there to run that program and do something.
I think they will all be there for Hard to Kills in January at some point. So I think they'll all be there for that. How long after? I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see when these contracts start coming up for a lot of people because you got Hendry, Alexander, Jordan Grace. Like, we'll see.
Alexander's already said he's going into free agency. He's testing the waters.
Why not?
Jordan's kind of hinted at it, saying, at the end of the year, her OnlyFans and stuff are going away. So
her OnlyFans isn't really an OnlyFans, like OnlyFans.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, like, she signifies, like,
right. Yeah, the writing's on the wall. Like, I get it. And maybe, like, would this be the end of TNA? And have like an absorption, so to speak, and TNA and NXT become one and merge, and you have a more viable third brand that you could tour on Tuesday nights and sell out arenas when you combine the rosters. Is that necessarily a good thing for pro wrestling? I don't know. That can be a discussion for a different day, but it will be
PKO has not had any absorption of any companies yet. So that's going to come at some point, whether TNA is the first one or somebody else.
And we know, I mean, you got rid of D'Amore and that old guard, and, Anthem, depending on how much you believe or what you read between their tea leaves, it's like, after 20 years, do you still want to be in the wrestling business? Because you've lost a lot of money at times throughout the course of the run. And granted, Anthem didn't have the company the entire 20 years, but still. But I mean, look, TNA's
going close to a decade, right?
TNA's been the hottest it's been in 10 years. They're drawing 5,000 people. They're selling out venues. The roster's good. The wrestling's good to great at times. They have enough of a variation that you can get your Baskin Robbins 31 flavors of wrestling, depending on what you like. This would be probably the saddest I would be if TNA was absorbed at this point in time, just because of how the brand is thriving. Normally, you think the descent or the decline is whenever you get the absorption.
Yeah.
But hey, cash out when you're the hottest, right?
Yep.
If you buy the stock at $10 and it goes up to $200,
yep.
Why not cash out, right? Like, so maybe Anthem cashes out when they're at their hottest, and we see the fallout after that.
Well, since we're out of the McMahon era, do you think if they bought TNA, would it remain TNA as is, and just be under the umbrella?
No, I think you would have some sort of combination of NXT and TNA. Maybe you call it NXTNA. Like, I know Jordan Grace had that on her jacket, and that big, that name may be too simple of a name, but like, if you're having this CW deal and you're getting more eyes on NXT because it's in more households total than USA, and you're going to run these venues in different cities and states for NXT, it's not the worst thing that they can do because you have bigger names coming in to the fold. The roster, not that everybody in TNA would be absorbed over in the roster. Some people would lose their job, but I mean, I can think of worse things that happen in pro wrestling. It would just suck that TNA is as hot as it is, and then they go away.
To be determined.
Yeah.
My Mount Rushmore for the week, I'm going to give it to from Dynamite. I enjoyed Dynamite for the most part. Yeah,
I thought it was their best run. I thought it was their best run show that they've had in weeks.
Yes,
start to finish, it flowed good. The matches were good. Stories were good. Characters' motivations were fleshed out. I thought it was their best outing in a really long time, but they still drew 700,000 viewers.
Rating again. This is what I hate about people talking about ratings. It's you talk about ratings one week and you talk about what they draw, and then another week you go, I don't care about ratings. So I just
said it to push. I don't give a shit about ratings.
I don't care. Like, it is what it is with AEW. Like, they're gonna get what they get. Like, if you enjoy it, enjoy it. Tune in every week. If you're not, okay.
Still going. Poke the bear a little bit, see if I can get some reaction.
But my actual Mount Rushmore for the week is going to be Danielson and McGuinness. That was the match that got me into Ring of Honor. The two of them, that feud. So give them the nod for the week. Thought it was a good match. But I think they could have a follow up.
Yeah, I was gonna have Nigel as my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, why just Nigel?
Yeah, why just Nigel?
Yeah,
just the you figure 13 years, out of wrestling and not being able to do anything, and then to have the comeback in Wembley, and you think that's the moment, and he can kind of sum up the career. But then to be able to do the Danielson match, and granted, I don't like the way that they got there, but the fact that they did, and he was the one that pushed the story for the match and was the one that was calling Bryan out and everything,
for a year.
Yeah, it just fits. And I'm glad he had his moment. I'm glad people will give him his flowers and maybe go back and realize what, how much of a guy Nigel was and where his career was going prior to him having to leave wrestling. And just I thought the way the match ended was really badass from hey, I got my moment standpoint. I don't think we'll see Nigel in the ring anymore. I honestly don't. I think this was his swan song. Like,
I'm cool with it.
To go out with the thank you as I tap, like, to me, I thought that was different, and it made it more memorable to where I'll recall that moment in time. Like, you're always searching for moments in wrestling, and that was a moment that will go, okay, that's pretty badass. Like,
that was his I'm sorry, I love you. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nigel was up there, but like I said, overall, TNA, the show overall, had me more entertained, and I thought you, of all people on this panel of wrestling marks, would come in and have Danielson and Nigel on your Mount Rushmore this week. So,
and I'll kick it off with the mush of the week because it's with AEW, and I'm sure no one's going to be surprised who I give it to. But Mox beating Darby Allin to become the new number one contender on Dynamite. Steve started the pod a couple weeks ago where he said that what if Mox is the one that that takes the title off of Danielson, which we're now getting the match at Wrestle Dream in a couple weeks. But all right, right now Mox is a 5-time champion in wrestling. He's a 5-time world champion. This would be his 4th AEW title run in 5 years. Do we really need to give a man 4 title runs in 5 years?
He got that brother creative control.
He does.
He's on that Charlotte level.
and Donald, me and you talked about this. I'm hanging by a thread right now with wrestling. And if this happens, I said it a couple weeks ago that I'd be done. No, we're going to go even farther. We can timestamp this. I'm done with wrestling, and you guys take over the show. Because I ain't talking about wrestling anymore if he wins.
I did like that finisher off the top rope. I did like that.
That's how much I'm just hanging by a thread with wrestling at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say it yet. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I'm gonna wait and see how it plays out.
We have to have a Fallout show if it happens. So you ain't done. You're coming back here.
No. The Fallout show will be on, and the title of the Fallout show will be "I Told You So," because I'm taking a victory lap around 6 neighborhoods. I'm gonna order a flag that says "I told you so" and just drive it by Chris's house for 7 days straight. Look, man, like
I know, Steve, you said that you didn't think Darby Allin was worthy of beating Bryan Danielson for the belt.
no,
Like that was kind of the thing that you thought. To me, I'd rather have somebody like a doesn't have to be Darby, but like a Darby that's that homegrown talent to take it off of him.
Look,
that's what I would rather see.
If you're gonna run the Danielson career is over because of his body's failing, and we know he said it. He doesn't have a lot of time left and everything, right? You have two options that you can go off of that scenario. One is what you said, where you have a younger homegrown talent that takes the belt and a la passing the torch angle, right? Yeah. The second one is to an established guy that there's history with that you can call back on and tell a story that means more from a story perspective. It may not be the guy that you want to see win, but story-wise, it's a better fit and a more logical way of doing business. Moxley and Danielson.
Jason faces down there. So, Jason, what's your response on that?
My response is if you put the belt on Moxley, it's going to be another like murderer's row. I'm going through everybody, and then who do you get to take it off of them?
So that was going to be.
I think the belt's going on Mox. I think the boy. Here comes the money. He's taking the spot. I want this spot not for me, but for this guy.
I'd feel better if you put it on Claudio.
I wouldn't hate that, but yeah, I wouldn't. I don't see that, but
it's not happening.
Mox and Danielson have been tied at the hip since Danielson came into AEW.
Yeah,
then you shouldn't have put the belt on him, on Danielson. You could have told the story without the belt.
Listen, we had this discussion just like we had it whenever Sting won the tag team titles. Yeah. Tony Khan wanted that from a history bullet point standpoint to say, I had Bryan Danielson as my AEW champion.
He won that in the history books.
I don't think the crowd will not care about Darby in that AEW fan base like that.
As long as he keeps throwing himself off of concrete, he'll be fine.
Well, Darby brought up the analogy this week on Busted Open, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but he said, comparing AEW and WWE, WWE's Taylor Swift and we're Slayer. We have our fan base. We sell records. Do we need to sell 6 million records to be considered a success and popular? No. Our audience is going to follow us and follow us.
What'd you say, Jason?
Said you need to stay on TV.
Well, there's another wrestler that may have been caught opening his mouth that shouldn't have been opening his mouth and said something to, somebody that got a lot of traction this morning and yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Swerve in an off-camera moment that was caught on camera having a conversation with Queen's Flip from the Joe Budden podcast, and Queen's Flip got his name out there, YouTuber and everything else prior to joining Joe Budden's podcast. But Swerve told Flip, "Yo, we're on Fox, we're on TNT, TBS, and Fox. We got all three. We're there. We're moving." So I mean, I don't know if TK picked up the phone afterwards, like, "Hey, Swerve,
coming to the office."
Yeah, it's
not official till it's official,
right?
Did it happen on TV? yeah. No announcement happened on TV. Tony Khan's big announcement
this Wednesday.
To me, if Darby would have beat Mox, and then you build up to Darby and Danielson in Seattle at Wrestle Dream, Darby's from there, Danielson's from there, and you have the passing of the torch moment with Darby winning. After that moment, what else is there? Like, what do you do next with Darby? Like, to me, he's not there. He's not. Everything Mox said to him, like, bro, you're not there. You're not ready. Like, you don't understand it now, and I don't got time to explain it to you. Like, you're not.
And
there.
I saw, but he said that to Darby before. Like, that's like the recurring thing that he says to Darby. You're not there. You're not ready. Like, it wasn't this time. That's been his recurring thing with Darby. So that, to me, whenever he came out and said that, I was like, okay, you got to prove that Darby's ready. And so you could have had that moment. But
if you're going with the AEW talent to win and take the belt off Danielson for the passing of the torch moment, who do you give it to? You already ran him and Jack Perry. You already ran him and MJF. Like, who do you give it to? You already had him and Hangman. Who is that AEW talent to take the belt off Darby where you go, okay, this is certified AEW guy that's going to carry the company for the next 4 years, or however long the next TV deal is. This is the guy that's going to raise AEW. This is the guy that knocked off and ended the career of arguably the greatest pro wrestler in a generation. They don't have that.
Setting out the APB out for Warlow.
He's out injured right now with a knee injury, apparently.
Apparently. Have you seen this?
Matt Taven said that this week. Matt Taven said, somebody asked Matt Taven, where's Wardlow? Like, finally, somebody asked somebody where the hell Wardlow is. Taven's like, he's out with a knee injury. Like,
Roberto Lashley.
I mean, he looks like he's coming in. Not a homegrown talent, but
no.
That fan base will burn to the ground. MVP got a pop Monday night, and MVP is a different type of cat. MVP has been in and out of WWE. Like, he's done independence. He's been seen other places. He's a different character and everything else.
Yeah.
If you bring in Lashley and you just put the belt on him, oh boy. Oh boy.
I don't want to see the TNA booking. But I do want to see what Lashley's like in TNA. Or in AEW, not TNA. But I want him to be like what he was in TNA, like where he was kind of like that, the more fighter style. And like,
look, him and MVP are literally going to run that back.
Cool.
That was the most entertaining version of both of them in TNA. They're going to run that back. Shelton's going to come in, add Will Hobbs, sprinkle in a feud with Swerve. Boom, you got your Hurt Syndicate.
Wasn't MVP the one that tweeted out, do we have to put all black people together in the group?
Throw them all together.
Here we go.
Hey, listen, MVP didn't do any favors because he came out there and ran down Nana on Wednesday night. So, like, does he really care? Because he just tore down another black man live on TV.
I mean, that's how you get heat, right? You tear down a fan favorite.
It's true. Very true. But back to what we were saying. Look, honestly, I have no idea what they do. Do I want to see Moxley get another AEW title reign, break glass, and we put the belt on Mox a la the superhero Cena era? No. Is Danielson going to be a champ to carry it for 9 months? No. Do they have somebody else in the wings that's homegrown that can take the title out of Danielson to where it means something and they can actually propel forward? No. So what do you do?
Swerve running it back. I mean, at some point, would the fans be like, enough of Moxley? At some point, because I had that early.
Because they love him.
No.
They love him.
I hate this guy.
No, they love him.
No, he went after one of their He went after one of their fan favorites in Darby, who's been a fan favorite since Darby debuted.
Mm-hmm.
And he got no booze. Nothing. So at that point, when you see that, it's like, all right, what can you do to generate heat? Beat Bryan Danielson. And even that, I don't think we'll get the heat that they want.
No, it won't.
Am I interested in this story? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I am. Am I happy that the AEW title is involved in the story? No, I'm not. I wish this would not include the title and coming up on the run of the career-ending run of Bryan Danielson in ring. Like, yeah.
And I just get tired already of every match that Bryan Danielson wrestles. Is this going to be his final match? Is this going to be the match that ends Bryan Danielson's career?
And then you get the final countdown every single time.
Yeah.
I'm sick of that damn song. Sick of that damn song.
You know who else I had on my Mount Rushmore short list? Good old JR. 50 years in pro wrestling, calling the Nigel Danielson a catcher's catch can wrestling match. Say what you will about JR and everything, and shout out to JR for 50 years in pro wrestling and everything he's been through health-wise, over the last couple of years and everything else. But listen to him Monday night, like it truly is
Wednesday night.
Or Wednesday night. Listen to him Wednesday night, like it truly is like an all-time great, like a savant. Just the way he paints pictures, the way he gets stuff in there, from a story perspective. The way he even spins stuff that the other guys in the booth were saying, just it's not going to be another one out there.
I like what they're doing with JR right now. Like they don't have him out there the whole night. They just bring him in for like a big match and gives it that special feel whenever he's out there. I'm cool with that. Like keep doing that until he's ready to hang it up for good.
Yeah, no, I don't need 2 hours of JR. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, because it's coming up on the end, right, of his career, and you still get those moments when he's on, and he was on his game Wednesday night. Like when he's on, you just listen to that and you go, "There's no one better at this than JR." Like. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you put up there. I don't care where the discussion goes. Like he truly is one of one. And the fact that he's done it for 5 decades just is even more jaw-dropping when you think about it. Like, so yeah, JR was, depending on how the rest of the week shook out, that was up there on my short list for Mount Rushmore, because he definitely deserved his kudos for Wednesday night and what he added to that match.
Donald, what's your mush?
My mush is they are hyping up this Ospreay Ricochet fight for next week, and they had a sit-down interview, and you have to watch it on YouTube.
It was much from what you saw.
I watched the interview last night. It wasn't anything special.
They just showed a good old clip, but you hype this fight up. Like WWE did interviews, and they used to do it like in between matches, like on this big fight that you're hyping up, and they said, yeah, you got to watch the whole thing on YouTube. I don't know with this company. I have no idea what is going on.
Yo, here's
content, man. WWE does the same thing.
Here's what I'll say to that. And I was thinking about this morning because of the main event of Rampage last night was Taya and Willow. and Deonna Purrazzo cut a promo, and I forget where it even was shown at. It might have been her own social media page that was filmed at AEW and it ain't aired anywhere else. But Deonna cut a promo, and Taya stepped in at the end, and them two are going to be starting a faction, which was rumored to be cool. But then you had Taya come out and lose to Willow. And it's like, if you're getting ready to start a faction, why are you having the girl in the faction lose right away? Which makes no sense. And they showed another clip of Deonna promo to Taya that was outside and everything else. Like, here's what I'll say, and this got me thinking this morning after seeing that. AEW, for the There's No Stories Out There group, which I myself put myself in that category from time to time. I looked at it this morning. They tell stories, but you literally have to watch Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, YouTube, BTE. AEW Twitter, AEW UK Twitter. Like, you literally gotta watch everything to get the story in totality, and that's very poor.
What have I said since the beginning?
Yep. They need a wrap-up show.
They need a weekend show, where you just, okay, this week we're focusing on Deonna, and we're going to show you those clips to tie the whole story together. And
but not even
they
that.
Just need something.
Not even that. Why, if you have, like Bischoff talked about this before with Nitro and Thunder. Nitro's your A show, Thunder's your B show, right? You got to come up creative for each show. You got to make the shows different and everything else. You can't run stories consecutively on both shows, because then you overexpose your talent, you overexpose your creative, you run out of ideas, etc. It's what they need to do. And they have the roster to do it. So if you have your Dynamites and you have your Wednesday nights and you have your people and your stories on Wednesday night, make that strictly Wednesday night. Rampage is Rampage, and that's going away soon. So Shockwave's taking its place. It is what it is. But Collision's Collision. Have your stories and all that Saturday night to Saturday night. Like, don't do any crossover. Don't have me needing to watch 8 hours of programming in order to get one story, because I'm going to get lost and I'm going to get frustrated, and I'm not going to have the time to invest in one single company for 8 hours of content a week to where I can fully sit down and truly digest everything that you're throwing at me.
You're not a wrestling fan.
WWE and WCW used to do it. Like, they had their programs during the week, and then on Saturday and Sunday they had multiple magazine style shows. And it's like that's how you connected everything together on there. And they threw in a couple matches, and it was what it was. But why can't you do that today and just do it on YouTube? It doesn't need to be on a Fox or TNT or anything. Like, if you need a wrap up, here it is.
But running everybody, and on different shows and different stories and calling people out and not seeing it. Like, Sammy Guevara and Okada is wrestling for the title tonight on Grand Slam Collision. When the fuck did that happen?
I didn't even know.
Apparently, Sammy called out Okada after the Bunkhouse Brawl match last week against the Kingdom. Why is Sammy, who just came back, who's an ROH Tag Team Champion, who just had a Bunkhouse Brawl match, calling out Okada for a title shot or an eliminator match? It's an eliminator match. Calling out Okada for an eliminator match on Collision Grand Slam. Why?
Didn't Dustin inspire him to be a two-time champ?
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't watch that. And that interview that Sammy cut when he called out Okada wasn't even on Collision after the match. It's on social media.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah, but I find it funny that you hype up this match and everything and have this sit-down interview and you got to watch YouTube. Can you imagine Roman and Cody? Oh, yeah, they have this big match at WrestleMania, but if you want to watch this, you got to watch it on YouTube.
Yo,
not on Raw, not on SmackDown. YouTube. Like, that's the only place you can see this at. YouTube.
But if it would have been on, if it would have been, because it was like, I think like a 9-minute interview. If that would have been 9 minutes on, say, Dynamite on Wednesday or Collision tonight, it's just like, I would have sat there and said, that's 9 minutes that you could have put a match on for instead.
Yeah, but
I think it's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying, Chris, but don't hype up the match like it's the biggest match that's ever going to happen. La la la, this and that, the rematch between these two. And you go sit down on the interview and just be like, "Oh yeah, you got to watch it on YouTube."
I'm sure they'll probably show a clip on Wednesday.
I mean, because you know me, if it ain't happened on TV, it didn't happen.
I get it. Jason, what do you got from Wush?
1B is the ref in that Young Bucks match. Just because this man was finding every reason to look away at interference, that was not the storyline.
That's man what he always is in matches.
It's like they write the storyline but don't include the ref. He's just like, let me look over here for a second. Missed the whole thing. Nobody's over there. No other wrestler. No nothing. It drives me insane when I see that dude ref. But 1A is Rampage. It's like once you're on Rampage, I'm not done with you, but you bring Anna Jay back, slap her on Rampage.
Yes.
Takeshita, who's on the rise, he's on Rampage.
Yeah, that Anna Jay was terrible.
It's the new dark. That's all it is.
I mean, I'm just now realizing you said it's going away, so maybe this is.
Yeah.
I hope. What would you say? It's going to be a separate brand.
It's going to be a new show called Shockwave. And that's the show that's allegedly going on Fox or one of the Fox channels. So whether it's FS1, etc., but that's going to be replacing Rampage.
If it's on Fox, they got to give you better than Rampage because it ain't going to work if it's Rampage 2.0.
It's like once you're on Rampage, you're an afterthought. They had they Acclaimed on there. Now you're an afterthought. Then you got Takeshita fighting Angelico.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was still on the roster.
And
going time, not a squash match? No.
That Anna Jay was bad. Mm-hmm.
She's bringing her back to Rampage was bad, right? Is that what you're saying? Or the match itself was bad?
No. They're bringing her back on.
Bringing her back, yeah.
Yeah, for me, bringing her back on Rampage.
I will say, listen, I watched Anna Jay over in Japan. And Will Ospreay tweeted it out today, like the improvements from her being over in Japan with footwork, timing, placement, everything. Like if you watch her before Japan and you watch her last night, there's a clear difference in her in-ring work just from being over there for a month and a half. Like, and I thought she had an outstanding run in Japan with her matches. So
you build on that. No, she just come back and says, "I don't know where I fit in." No, you come in hot.
Yeah,
make your spot.
I fit in.
Yeah, listen,
make a spot.
You come in hot. Yeah,
right. That promo, instead of being, I don't know where I fit in. That promo should have been, I didn't have a place in this women's division before I left for Japan. After Japan, I'm taking my place in this women's division.
Much better.
Boom. Right there. Like intentions are clear. Not that I don't know. And maybe I'm here, maybe I'm there. I don't know. No.
Where do I fit in is exactly the motto of Rampage.
But it's the same message as her. Like, I don't know where I fit in.
Yeah.
Instead of saying that, no, say, yes, I lost my way in this women's division before I left for Japan. I did not know where I fit in. After Japan, I know who I am, and I'm coming to claim my spot in this division now. And then have her go out there and whoop some ass in 3-4 minutes. Cool. Message sent, stamped, signed, sealed, delivered. We're off and running. But yeah, no, you hurt her by what you did. It's frustrating. It's frustrating as a fan, especially when you watch these people that go out and they have a run in Japan, like, and they do something outside of AEW, or they do something outside of NXT, like Briggs and Tavion Heights in the Noah Cup. Like when you watch these guys or girls and you see what they do and you see the strides that they make and everything else, and then they come back and they get put in that situation, it's like, why the hell did you come back? Same with Jack Perry. the fucking scapegoat was 1,000 times better in Japan, and now in AEW, I don't give two shits.
Yeah,
it made sense doing the scapegoat in Japan because I got kicked out of AEW.
yes,
Yeah,
you know. All right, Steve, what was your mush for the week?
I touched on it earlier, but my mush for the week was Raw. Outside of Jay winning the belt, it was a very uneventful 3 hours. I thought it was dull, hard to watch at times, just lackluster of a show. And I know it's 3 hours of content, but that really made it seem like, all right, we don't need 3 hours of Raw and 3 hours of SmackDown.
This is coming from the guy that said recently,
SmackDown.
they've been giving you great content every week.
Fell for the trap again. He fell for the trap again. Fell for it again. 2 for 2. No, but I don't know. I don't know why. Like, you know, the crowd was off. Like, everything about Monday night was just off. Like, it did not continue the momentum that they had building over the previous weeks. And like I said, I guess that could be booking wise. You know, you had Kofi and Xavier do their thing, which was a nice another layer in that story, which Donald talked about last week. Jay winning, Bronson and Braun with the last Monster Standing match announced for next week. It was just, I don't know, it seemed like a placeholder episode, and I didn't really enjoy it.
I get it. Anybody got anything else from the week of wrestling?
Yeah, my Mount Rushmore mush hybrid Hook. Thank you for retiring the FTW Championship in the most cringy way possible. Speaking, you should just get the belt over, but I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah, me too. It's like 2 years too late, but
y'all shitting on a nice full circle moment for that championship, and a father and son sharing a moment on national television, and y'all shitting on it.
And with that being said, and another thing,
all right, we'll get to the game for this week. We'll debate this. We're going to talk about the PWI top 10 color commentators. We got, in order, Nigel McGuinness, Wade Barrett, Caprice Coleman, Matthew Reinhold, Taz, Pat McAfee, Booker T, Hugo Savinovich, Veda Scott, and Matt Menard.
Shout out Veda Scott for cracking the top 10.
Yeah.
Female color commentator. I think she may be the only one. I know Velvet was doing it for a little bit in NWA. I don't know if
she was good too.
No. I don't pay attention to NWA at all.
Why is Graves not on here?
That was going to be my question.
Well,
I know he was doing play-by-play for a bit, but I mean, I'd put Graves on the list.
Matt Menard only does
so far.
Yeah,
Matt Menard only does color on fucking Rampage. Like, what do we?
And he's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
No, see, I don't mind Matt Menard on the mic.
He only did it for a little bit.
It was the Jericho spot. It was the know. Again, I don't hate it. But to say that he deserves, Nigel, but to say that he deserves to be in the top 10, like, what are we doing here?
Nigel isn't number one to me. I don't even listen to the guy, so he can get off the list altogether.
I mean, I can't believe Pat's not even in the top 5.
That's surprising.
Well, depending on the
top 3, but
depending on the criteria,
there it goes.
And when the dates were, he wasn't there for that full length of time. So, like,
I don't care what y'all say. Book is top 3, but I give it Book's at, but Book is top 3.
You know he's not.
Booker at number 1?
Top 3.
No, he's not. He's not top 3. He's not 4, 5, 6. Like Booker.
No. Booker's not even in my top 10. I could do I could do the color he does every week. Yes, there you go. That's it. I did a better job than he did right now.
Look, if I'm going off my own personal biases as far as who I like to listen to, and I'm running out of top 5. Give me P-Mac at 1, Caprice at 2, Wade at 3, Nigel 4, and give me Veda at 5. I've just out of this top 10 list, reshuffling order, not including anybody that's not on the list, but I would go with those as my top 5. Taz would round out 6. Caprice is extremely underrated, and nobody gives him the credit he deserves because it's a Ring of Honor. But
who's listening?
Him as a color guy, he's extremely, extremely good on the mic in that role. Wade has stepped his game up since being called up from NXT.
Wade's good.
Wade's terrific. Nigel to me is always hilarious, and I know it's only Collision, so you're not getting him throughout the week like you get some of these other guys.
He does good on the pay-per-views, though.
Yeah. So, and McAfee for me is number 1. Just the energy, the vibe, the one-liners, what he brings out of Cole. See, I think that's the other thing they got to take into account from a color commentator. What do you bring out of your play-by-play guy?
Yes.
How do you play off of your play-by-play guy? How's that relationship work? What's the ins and outs? Where's the pops? Where's the knowing when to let the play-by-play guy have their time to shine with calling the match and not just taking over a match with antics and opinions. Like,
and him working with Pat made him better working with Corey. Like, I love those two together.
Yeah. Pat definitely made Cole more reasonable.
Yes.
I'd go Corey, Pat, Book, Barrett, Taz.
Four WWE guys and 1 AEW guy. Still waving that flag.
Without even knowing it.
No bias there. No biases there. Just straight WWE stand guy.
I'll go Pat, Corey, Nigel, Wade, Caprice.
Pat would be number 1. I'd throw in Corey at number 2. Probably put Taz at 3. Nigel at 4. And then maybe Wade at 5.
No bread, no water.
Taz for me, and I know Taz had his gap in pro wrestling whenever he did the radio show. But Taz has been doing color so long, from SmackDown to TNA and now AEW. Like, not that he's forgotten about, but like he's just been there so long that I don't really think of Taz as like, oh, he's the number 1 color guy. Like, it's just Taz doing color. Like, same with Michael Cole. Like with Michael Cole, you've been a play-by-play guy for 27 years. Like, do you really like? You're there.
Yeah, you're just there.
Like,
and even Taz did it on the original ECW when he was hurt.
Yeah,
Taz just gets too technical for me. That's it. Once you
but I like that
moves in the matches, or like the moves and how it hurts, and just give me some fun shit.
It's a different style, and I like that from Taz because Taz is a guy that can add that based off of credibility and what he's done. Like, I wouldn't want Pat McAfee talking about Jushi Katami and the effects it has on it whenever it's landed. Like, that's not going to work.
But I'd be okay hearing Pat McAfee talking about the yam bag.
I still get a pop every single time Taz. Oh, Yambag City. Mr. Jones. Yambag Jones.
All right, guys, that's episode 207 of the Dumb Marks Podcast. Head over to social media. Follow us on all platforms at Dumb Marks Pod. head over to Spotify, give us a listen, and follow us over there. And of course, Steve plugged it earlier. Help us out. ProWrestlingTees.com/DemarksPod. Buy some merch. So with that, one things this week with the quote of the week: without struggle, there can be no progress. And we'll catch you next week.